Can you tell a book by its cover? Should you assume that the story inside is consistent with representations on the outside? Similarly, have you been tricked into thinking someone was an upstanding person, only to find out that the person inside was totally different? It's nothing new. It happens to all of us all the time. As a young assistant DA, I started the first domestic violence unit in a prosecutor's office in the nation. I fought on behalf of all victims, but my crusade was for the battered woman. The women who were shot, stabbed, beaten, and brutalized by the very men who said that they loved them. This week, White House Staff Secretary Rob Porter turned out to be someone whose cover is different than the content of his character. Porter is accused of physically assaulting both his ex-wives. The uproar was predictable. How can someone who works in the Oval Office, who walks with the president, be a batterer? Why didn't we know? Why didn't we know sooner? And who can we blame? Late today, I spoke with senior White House official, a senior one, about the process and was reminded that on January 20th of last year, a completely new White House staff arrived. Everyone was given a form, an SF-86, a multi-page questionnaire that seeks everything about you, from your high school friends to your bank records to your residential addresses, foreign travel, your employment, foreign contacts. And when the form is turned in, the FBI begins its investigation. In the normal course of events, it can take 6, 7, or 8 months, but rarely less than 6. Complicated ones, like those with high finances, take a lot longer. And as part of its investigation, the FBI reaches out then to local field offices for them to interview the people referenced in the background form. And then additional references from the local offices are then requested, and it fans out even further. General John Kelly arrived at the White House on July 29th, and as you might imagine, giving his background as a retired Marine, 4-star general, the first since the Korean War to be promoted to that rank while in active combat, he started to check out security clearances. Because Kelly saw it as unusually long, he told Don McGahn, the White House counsel, that the FBI needed to speed up their investigation so that, quote, we could get a sense of these folks. In the case of Rob Porter, a very senior White House staffer, Kelly was advised it was complicated. But since nothing specific was highlighted, Kelly said, we just need to get these clearances as quickly as possible. Now, at the end of December, the beginning of January of this year, with no feedback, he started to consider that particular situation serious. And to the best of his recollection, the background investigation from the FBI had not yet reached the White House, which then, according to protocol, does its own investigation after they review the FBI's investigation to make a recommendation. This past Tuesday, February 6th, was a typical day for General Kelly, working as chief of staff in a fast-moving administration, going up to Capitol Hill on DACA, and then returning to the White House at 6:30 p.m., where several communication people sat in his office. The press had called, inquiring about Rob Porter and an ex-wife who had gone public to say she had been abused. Porter was immediately called into Kelly's office and asked if that was true. Porter lied and said it was untrue. He was then queried by Kelly as to whether there was a police report, was there a restraining order of any kind. He denied that again. Within minutes, another reporter called saying the first wife had now suffered significant physical abuse. That was enough for Kelly. Although he had seen no picture like the one you're looking at on the screen. At 7:30 that same night, he told Porter, you and I both know what's got to be done here. And he accepted Porter's resignation. Kelly, within a few moments, called his deputy chief, advising him of Porter's resignation, telling him he gave Porter permission to come in the next day and clear out his office. So I ask you, Kelly hears about this at 6:30. He calls Porter in, no pictures, no police report, no restraining order. He tells Porter, be gone within 40 minutes. Kelly did what you would expect a leader to do. There was no excuse, there was no hesitation, no justification. He had to go. So, for everyone who's looking for someone to blame, chill out. You want to blame someone? Blame the batterer. He doesn't walk around with a scarlet letter or a sign on his forehead that says, I beat women. He is cunning and clever, presenting himself as a charming individual who's a Rhodes Scholar with a Harvard degree. You want to stop a four-star general who is running the White House, who believes in chain of command, who makes a decision within 40 minutes because you hate Donald Trump? Find another scapegoat. You might want to look at the last president. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. #Jeanine.